welcome to the channel. This is RK Ryan. I'll start making some videos from the comp perspective in NBA Infinite to give other players more insight into what's meta and just comp gameplay in general. I'm currently ranked first in the NA server, and I hope my experience could help you guys improve in the game. I'll start off by making tier lists for this season. I'm gonna separate it into two sections. One section is the guards and the small forwards, and the other one is the bigs, the power forwards, and the center. So this tier list will be guards only from my experience playing this season in the Hall of Fame. And I will be excluding the rare cards because they're not really competitive and there's not a reason to include them in this tier list. And it would just make the video too long. For the first card, we're gonna put Jason Tatum in the broken section. He's one of the best guards in the game, and he's got defense, he's got really good offense, especially his sidestep, which is very overpowered. And also main him, so I think he's the best player I've seen. He dominates every game. He can run offense by himself. And yeah, that makes him like an all around player. He's not fast like the other guards, smaller guards, but he's still one of the best. If you're looking to get a main score. The next we've got Curry. Curry is very expensive. Most people won't be able to afford him, but he's still one of the best guards in the game. One of the 2 or 3 broken cards that plays in the guard position. Curry is very good at shooting threes. He's very fast. It's hard to keep up with him. And yeah, if there's screens, he's gonna chuck it. And most of the time, he makes some moderates, especially at higher rank. But for his price, it's really hard for anyone to get him. So I'd say like if you're looking for a budget option, probably Curry is not your choice. And for the last broken card, we've got Damian Lillard. Damian Lillard, I I feel from my experience, I feel like he requires the most skill, the most concentration when you're playing him compared to Tatum and Curry. However, he's still pretty OP because he's one of the fastest players in the game. And he does make some moderates at R6 and R7. However, you have to like kind of get his dribble moves down in order to be good at him. So I feel like this is a cheap option, but you gotta kind of lap him up before you start using him because of all the combinations that you could use with him. In the S tier, we've got Harden. His step back is hard to guard if you don't know where you have to be to contest it, and you have to kind of react fast enough for his step backs. He's literally impossible to guard if you're guarding him by yourself, but with help defense, you can kind of lock him down, and there's not much he could do unless you have 2 shooters around him, which helps him create that space where he can ISO. He's got the passing skills, but he's not the type of playmaker you think he could be because of his dribbling. His dribbling moves just puts him in a situation where he can't pass, and that's why I don't think he's as broken as Tatum, Curry, and Dame. The next player we've got is Kawhi. Kawhi is a crazy perimeter defender, good steals, good contest. However, he lacks a little bit on offense. He does make some open threes, but not consistently. His shots is pretty OP when you have the dominance on. He makes some moderate shots in the mid range, but you kind of need like a second scorer to help him space out because he's not the most gifted player on offense, and you're gonna struggle a bit to find space. You're gonna have to like look for the open shots. He's not the typical scorer that you imagine, like Curry or Dame or Harden, Tatum. Like he has to like kind of shoot off screens because he doesn't have many moves on offense. Next up, we got Drew Holiday. Drew Holiday is like a budget version of Kawhi. He has a lower strength, still good steals, good contest, and he's got good defense. Offensively, he makes a little bit more threes than Kawhi, but he's not crazy good on offense. Like he's still kind of limited as well. But he is a faster player than Kawhi, which gives him a slight advantage in this category. I would say if you're guarding a faster guard like Curry or Dame, Drew Holiday might be the better option because he shoots more consistent threes and he's faster and it's easier to kind of follow and keep up with the faster guards. Next player we got is LeBron. LeBron is an all-around player. He can rebound, he can defend, he can kind of shoot threes when he's open, and he can dunk. And his dunking is pretty good, although dunking is not the best option when you have AD on the other team. But LeBron can literally do anything. He can rebound. Sometimes I see him snag rebounds over centers. But if you face like an AD that knows how to block LeBron's dunks, he's gonna be limited on offense. So he's not the best scorer that you can find, but he is OP enough. And if your team happens to have AD, then I would say he would be a really good option. For the last player in this tier, we've got Devin Booker. Devin Booker, I would say he's the weakest in this tier because he doesn't really have many ways of shooting threes, which is I feel like very important for a guard. He makes a lot of drifting shots, in the mid range area, but I feel like he's not that good. The Devin Booker I played against missed a lot of open shots, and he's just not. He doesn't have a move that is like really hard to guard, in my opinion. So I wouldn't say he is broken, but he is still good enough to be in S tier as a scorer. He's one of the cheaper options if you're trying to get a scorer that is decent. Going to the A tier, I feel like these players are not gonna be as good as the broken tier and the S tier, but these are still some players that you could possibly dominate with. So we've got KD, the legendary KD. I feel like he has some good dribbling moves, but he's not crazy. He's got a pretty decent block, but for his price, he's just not crazy enough. I feel like he's just not as good. Like he makes some shots, but like if you have good help defense, he doesn't have the moves to get himself out of that situation. So I don't think he's worth the coins. We've also got Trae Young here. I feel like he plays like a Harden. He does his dribble moves, but I feel like from my experience, he's easier to defend compared to Harden because he doesn't have that step back. He is kind of like a Harden without the step back. He would still work well in an ISO play, but I just don't think compared to Harden he is that good. But he has potential if you can master him. But I feel like there's better options than Trae Young. Next up, we got Jimmy Butler. Jimmy Butler is good on defense. He knocks down some mid ranges, and occasionally he knocks down some open threes. I think his best move is his relentless dunks. However, I think that can still be blocked, even though most people doesn't understand how to block it. But from my experience playing against Jimmy Butler, it is not hard to block his relentless dunk. But he's got good defense. Kind of feels like a Kawhi or Drew, but I don't think he has enough offensive skills to be competent as the main scorer. Now we've got LaMelo Ball. He's a really good point guard. He's got crazy passing skills. His dominance makes alley oops better, but I don't think he's a good player because you kind of need a guard that can score most of the time. And he can ISO, but like he doesn't have the moves to be very good at running the offense himself and trying to score. He's more of a playmaker. And so you kind of need kind of shooters to be good. But if you have like a team that knows how to rotate and how to like help, then I don't think he is that good. Now I've got the new Shea Alexander. I don't think this card is worth the coins at all. Even though it has a slight improvement in 3-pointers and other areas compared to his epic card, I don't think he is a good enough scorer. And his moves are not really that copy. Doesn't give you many open shots. So I wouldn't say he is the better cards. I don't see him much in comp games, and from my experience seeing people play, I just don't think he's good enough. Next, we got another new player, Anthony Edwards. He's got very good strength. He can dunk over everyone that has lower strength than him. But he lacks defense and 3-point shooting. So I don't think that he's a good card either, especially for that price. In order for him to be good, he needs that buff and defense and 3-point shooting. Next up, we got Paul George, a good two-way player, very fast for his height, but his bag is not that good. It's pretty general shots that everyone has. And he doesn't have playmaking skills, which makes it hard for him to survive in comp games, especially after the nerf this season. He's even worse than before. He makes less shots. He is slightly slower and worse on defense. So I wouldn't recommend unless you're just looking for a budget option or a backup. For the last A-tier player, we've got Klay Thompson. Klay Thompson is a pretty special player. He has to kind of play off ball. He needs another playmaker, another guard, another scorer playing behind him because he just runs around and go for the off ball screens and try to look for some open shots. He's got good defense. That's the main reason why he's here. But Klay is a player that really relies on the team, and he kind of just like a second scorer, in my opinion. If you try to play him as a main scorer, it could work, but it's gonna be hard because you're gonna get a lot of attention. And I think his biggest strength on offense is his catch and shoot and his breakaway, which is really fast and hard for other guards to keep up with. For the B tier and C tier, I'm not gonna spend too much time on it because these players you only play them really for a sentimental value. They're not really comp enough to survive in higher ranks. And at the B tier, we've got Luka. Luka is just not good enough. He doesn't have really crazy scoring methods. He's a good playmaker. He's got good passing, but that's pretty much it. And if you can't create your own shot as a guard, it's really hard for you to be comp, especially when you don't have defense. For Kyrie, he's good at ankle breaking, but all the time you put into trying to do the dribble moves, the other team can kind of double, and that makes him kind of limited because he also doesn't have a good way of scoring threes. I haven't seen any Kyrie player that's good, even though not a lot of people have him, but I just don't think he's comp enough. For Jamal Murray, he's a good all around player. I would say he plays kind of similar to a LaMelo Ball, but with less playmaking. And I just think he's a worse version of LaMelo Ball, but more expensive. Halliburton is good at passing, but his shots is a little bit slow. He doesn't really have anything that stands out, so there's nothing really special about him. For Shea, the Epic version, he has really high mid-range shots. If you know what you're doing, you could spam the mid-ranges and try to build up his mid-range attribute, but I've never seen anyone that's comp. I don't really see anyone that plays him, so that's why he's in the B tier. Last week we got Ja Morant. Ja Morant is fast, he can dunk, but of course with the ADs, you can't really do anything about it. He doesn't have many shot making abilities, so he's not comp either. Lastly, we've got the C tier. In the C tier, we've got DeRozan, we've got Brown, we got Mitchell, we've got Ingram, and we've got De'Aaron Fox. These players also does not have anything special to them. They're pretty casual, in my opinion. They don't really offer anything on offense that is comp enough to survive in higher ranks. So I would try to stay away from these players and B tier and C tier and what kind of the more expensive players in the A tier in general. If you're trying to be comp in the game. And that pretty much sums up my tier list so far in season 3, playing the Hall of Fame rank. I'm pretty confident in most of my decisions in ranking these players from my experience, just because I play this game quite a lot. And yeah, it's my first video, so if you guys have any suggestions or what you want to see in future videos, just comment down below. Let me know. I'm trying to bring some comp content from NBA Infinite to everyone because I see a lot of YouTubers, but they're not really like high on the leaderboard. So I'm trying to bring some comp content to y'all. I'll be doing a tier list for the bigs soon, and thank you for watching.